Ambassador Zeth Cole of the hierarchy had been warned about the rule during his first diplomatic briefing. Every species entering galactic society received the same orientation: maintain peaceful relations with all member worlds, respect territorial boundaries, follow trade regulations, and above all else, never, under any circumstances, harm a human being. "It seems excessive," he had told his predecessor. "Surely one species cannot warrant such universal protection." The old ambassador's scales had darkened with memory. "The rule isn't protection for humans, Zeth Cole. It's protection for everyone else." Now, standing in the wreckage of what had once been the Malakar Syndicate's home system, Zeth Cole finally understood what those words meant. The distress beacon had been broadcasting for 3 days before anyone dared to investigate. Where Malakar Prime had once orbited a thriving world of 12 billion souls, there was now only an asteroid field. The planet hadn't been destroyed by conventional weapons. The molecular bonds holding it together had simply been convinced to stop working. "Preliminary scans complete," reported his ship's science officer, her voice trembling. "No signs of life in the entire system. 7 worlds, 43 industrial stations, and 168 mining platforms, all converted to base elements." Zeth Cole stared at the readings. "How long ago?" "Approximately 72 hours, sir." The temporal distortion patterns suggest the entire process took less than 6 minutes. 6 minutes to erase an entire solar system. The efficiency was terrifying. "Have we confirmed what triggered this?" Zeth Cole asked, though he already knew the answer. Every species in the galaxy knew what had happened here, even if they didn't want to admit it. His communications officer looked up from her console, her expression grim. "The Malakar broadcast their action to the galactic networks 2 days before the incident. They captured a human research vessel in neutral space. According to their transmission, they intended to dissect the crew to understand human physiology." The bridge fell silent, except for the hum of life support systems. Everyone knew what came next in the timeline. The human ship carried a crew of 7, the communications officer continued quietly. Dr. Sarah Martinez, chief xenobiologist. Dr. James Park, quantum engineer. 5 graduate students conducting deep space research. The Malakar. They live-streamed the interrogation process. Zeth Cole's stomach churned. He had seen parts of that broadcast before it was mercifully cut short. The Malakar had been thorough in their cruelty, believing that humans' apparent fragility made them ideal subjects for their twisted experiments. "When did the response come?" he asked. 18 hours after the broadcast began. A single human vessel emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Malakar system. No weapon signatures, no energy buildups, no hostile intent broadcasts. It simply transmitted 4 words: "You broke the rule." Zeth Cole pulled up the tactical recordings from the few automated probes that had witnessed the event. The human ship was unremarkable, a mid-size vessel that could have been a cargo hauler or research platform. It made no aggressive moves, issued no threats beyond that simple statement. It didn't need to. The vessel established some kind of field effect, his science officer explained, her voice barely above a whisper. "Our quantum physicists are calling it reality editing." The ship somehow convinced the universe that the Malakar system had never achieved stable molecular cohesion. "That's impossible," Zeth Cole protested weakly. "So were humans, according to our first contact assessments," his tactical officer replied. "No natural weapons, no armor, relatively weak physically. Every analysis suggested they were prey species that had achieved technology through sheer luck. We were wrong about everything." Zeth Cole accessed the classified files that only ambassadors were permitted to see: the real history of human-galactic relations. The truth that was hidden behind carefully worded treaties and diplomatic language. The first species to attack humans had been the Korath Dominion 800 years ago. They had obliterated a human colony world, confident that Earth's response would be limited to conventional retaliation. Instead, the Korath homeworld had been ejected from its solar system and sent drifting into deep space. Not destroyed, relocated. An entire planet, with its population intact, banished to the void as a demonstration of power so absolute it defied comprehension. The second incident involved the Nexus Corporation, who had enslaved human traders for gladiatorial entertainment. Their punishment was more creative. Every member of their species had been simultaneously convinced that they were allergic to their own atmosphere. The Nexus had 4 hours to publicly apologize and release their prisoners before their entire civilization suffocated. They chose to apologize. There had been other incidents, other demonstrations. Each time, the response was proportional but impossible. Humans didn't just win their conflicts, they rewrote the rules of reality to ensure victory was inevitable. "Sir," his communications officer interrupted his reading. "We're receiving a transmission." The main screen activated, showing a human woman with graying hair and tired eyes. Her uniform bore the insignia of the Terran Response Corps, the organization that didn't officially exist, but that every government in the galaxy feared. "Ambassador Zeth Cole," she said, her voice carrying the weight of absolute authority. "I'm Admiral Chen. I trust you've completed your investigation of the Malakar incident?" Admiral Zeth Cole replied carefully. "The hierarchy extends its condolences for the loss of your people and acknowledges that the Malakar's actions were unacceptable. The rule exists for a reason," Ambassador Admiral Chen continued. "Not because humans are special, but because we learned long ago that the universe is remarkably responsive to focused intent. What your scientists call impossible is simply a matter of asking reality nicely to work differently." Zeth Cole felt a chill run down his spine. "Are you saying that all of this, the molecular dissolution, the reality manipulation, it's not technology?" Admiral Chen's smile was gentle and absolutely terrifying. "Technology is tools, Ambassador. What happened to the Malakar was an expression of human nature. We're a species that doesn't accept impossible as an answer. When someone hurts our own, we find a way to make the impossible happen." She leaned forward slightly. "The rule protects everyone, Ambassador. It protects humans from harm, yes, but more importantly, it protects the rest of the galaxy from discovering what we're truly capable of when that harm occurs. The Malakar learned that lesson. They just didn't survive it." The transmission ended, leaving Zeth Cole staring at the empty screen. Around him, his crew worked in subdued silence, each of them processing the same terrible understanding. The rule wasn't about human superiority or galactic favoritism. It was the universe's safety valve, a simple directive that prevented other species from provoking a response that could unmake reality itself. As his ship turned away from the former Malakar system, Zeth Cole made a mental note to update his species' first contact protocols. The warning would be clear and absolute: you don't hurt humans. Not because they're protected, but because no one survives the consequences of trying.